But angles truly do matter in all depths. It was something I talked about in actually in a topwater seminar was the angles at which you fish a bait even in shallow water. And a key place to think about that, and I'm sure a lot of you all have fished this type of stuff, is fishing a seawall. You know, if you ever fish a seawall, you really get on a good pattern where fish are using seawalls. If you're sitting out throwing in, you only have just a few cranks of the handle that bait's even in the strike zone. So getting up there, making your bait run parallel to a wall like that, whether it's an 18-inch deep retaining wall or it's a 20-foot deep one, but keeping your bait right alongside a wall like that is fishing an angle, and that's something that a lot of people, just because it's up against the shoreline, they don't consider it, but it really truly does matter in all depths. How? For me, the how on how crankbaits work, I put 3 different ones there. Certainly the action is a big part of it. You know, it's kind of what we were talking about with the speed. The action that bait has, the amount of vibration it puts off in the water is going to be the first thing that a fish notices about it. They're going to feel that. They're going to know that it's there through their lateral line way before they ever see it. So the action that bait has is going to be one of the first keys to kind of get their attention. And to me, I put them in rank of the importance. The action that a bait has, to me, far outweighs what the profile is and what the color of that bait is. Color, to me, for the crankbait, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, because it does, but it matters probably more in our heads than it does to the fish. But I have seen times where it seemed like the color was all that mattered whenever I was fishing in the boat with somebody else. But to me, the action of the bait is hands down the most important part of it. The matching that bait, the action of that bait a lot of times with the water temperature and what those fish are doing, kind of their mood at the time, is what I'm trying to do with that. And then the profile of the bait, you know, whether you're trying to match a round-bodied bait, if you're fishing around a lot of brim, the fish are eating on a lot of panfish, sunfish type stuff, or if they're eating on shad, you want something a little thinner bodied, a little bit different profile. And then a crawdad type colors, you know, just kind of a round, kind of a good mix in between a round and a flat-sided bait usually is what works well for a crawdad. Then of course colors. Like I said, certainly in the clear water situations where you fish a crankbait, that's where color is going to matter the most. In dirtier water, I really keep it pretty simple, and you'll see that here in just a second. You can go ahead to the next one, Bill. Action. For a general rule for this one, I put it out there: the colder the water, the tighter the wobble that you want with a crankbait. That's why a Shad Rap, hands down to me, is the best cold water crankbait, and I've said that way before I was ever sponsored by Rapala. It's a bait that I've always used. I've always caught a lot of fish on, and I still do to this day. It's just hands down probably one of the best cold water crankbaits. And I'm saying cold water being less than 55, less than 50 degrees most of the time. I've caught fish on it all the way down to 40. I don't know if I don't have to fish in 38-degree water very much, but certainly down to 40, 41 degrees, I've caught a lot of fish on a Shad Rap. And also that, the warmer the water, the wider the wobble. That's when, like a big square billed crankbait, a DT3, the fat one, you know, something with a lot of action, a bait that really swaps sides. Typically and that, like the Storm Arashi, it's got a real wide wobble to those baits. It really moves a lot of water. Those fish really know it's coming. And whenever they're kind of in that peak of their feeding mode, in that 65 to 75 degree range, that's when I'm going to want a bait with the absolute most action. Once you start getting in really hot water, call it 80 degrees and above, I'm actually going to kind of start going back the other way, a little bit tighter wobble. I'm never going to throw a Shad Rap in the middle of the summer. It's probably something I actually should try, but it's just not something that I do. But I do kind of tone back down my actions a little bit once I get to really, really hot water, like a DT16, truly a pretty tight wiggling bait. But it works extremely well in water that's 80, 85 degrees, because those fish, they kind of lose a little bit of that spunk they had in that 75 degree water. So something that's a little bit tighter, once the water gets really warm, really hot, you could say, definitely is a good one.
And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.